Hello, everyone. Welcome. Before we get into this, I just want to let you guys know if you are watching this on Facebook, I am not consistent with reposting these to Facebook. So where I'm mostly active is TikTok. So some of you are watching me live on TikTok. And then I do post these replays on my YouTube always. So if you're liking this content, if you're seeing this video and you're liking this content, those would be the places to follow me to stay up to date. Okay. So as everyone hops on, say hello. Let me know who's here with me. Let me know if you're new or returning. And hang on one second, I'm just going to my headphones. Hello, everyone. Welcome. I hope everyone's doing well. So as always, we're going to be talking about law of assumption because I teach manifesting through law of assumption. And I want to bust some myths that I see happening in this niche in the manifestation community about law of assumption. Because if you guys have been following me, I have a very unique stance on this. I don't just teach techniques. I don't just teach affirming. I don't just teach meditation and spirituality and the energetics. I teach a combination of all of it because my reasoning with that is you're all of those things, right? We're not just having a human experience. We are spirit. We are creating, there's so many aspects to it. And when I finally started really getting results was when I started implementing the law of assumption, but from a holistic way. And this is how my clients mostly get the better results too. So I want to talk about that with you guys. I want to have a good conversation. So as we're getting into this, feel free to put any questions or comments in the comments below. Okay, hello to everyone hopping on. I see some people saying hello in the chat. Hello. Hey, Kennedy, welcome. Laughing at some of these comments. Okay. So the first thing I want to talk about, I guess just kind of riff on a little before we get started, and then we'll kind of see where this goes and see what your questions you guys have or what you want to add to this. But mainly I see people knocking affirming a lot. And you're never going to hear from me to be a crazy person and affirm all day to the point where you're not having a life. But if you've heard me speak on this before, you likely know my stance on this. I hear a lot of people saying, just feel better, just feel better. You don't have to affirm, you don't have to do techniques. But I will tell you, as someone who tried that, it didn't really work for me. I would go, let's say, go to the beach and try to be relaxing and try to feel better, but I couldn't because I was so up in my head. I had so much anxiety, and the anxiety was due to thought patterns that I had going on, belief systems I had deep within me. So I think this would be a good point to mention, just bring up a little bit of my past so you guys understand where I'm coming from, because I think that this is something that kind of gets overlooked when we're talking about manifesting or law of assumption. I'm never going to wallow in your pain with you and keep you stuck there. I'm never going to tell you that you need to do a ton of healing. However, I think it's important to acknowledge where you're at, not from a victim-y space, but to really be clear on where you're at so that you can see what you need to move through, right? So me, for example, because it's hard to just go tell people, oh, just feel better, just be happy, just decide. But if you have a consistent life experience of not being able to decide, or you try to be in your power and you experience pushback, there can be a lot of dynamics going on, okay? And I'm not going to say you have to take forever to work through this, but it's important to kind of know where you're coming from and be honest about what you're dealing with. And I think it's helpful, when I share my experience and my story for you guys, because the people who find me are going to resonate with me and my story. I see the comments coming in. I'll get to them in just a moment. But basically, for me, I grew up in a pretty negative environment. There was a lot of emotional volatility, a lot of abuse that went along with that. I was, as a child, really, really controlled. So the experience I had, what it formed in my mind as a child and then I took into adulthood with me was, one, I expected abuse. I did not feel safe to be in my power. I thought that anytime I spoke up, I would get punished, physically hurt or privileges taken away. I have been constantly criticized. So the message I derived from that was that something's just inherently wrong with me, or I'm bad, or I'm always wrong, right? So I had a lot of things going on. I had a lot of negative self-talk. I had a lot of negative beliefs about just myself, the world, life, how I interact with others, right? So when it came to manifesting, I studied manifesting and spirituality for a long time. I did a lot of healing, and that got me so far, but then there was still a point where I still was kind of feeling like a victim. And I will tell you, what got me through it was affirming. Okay. And it was not easy at first, because when you affirm, your conscious mind is going to usually right away reject it, because it does not, when you're trying to affirm a new positive story, it doesn't line up with the old story. And your brain goes, yeah, but look at all the evidence of the opposite. That's not how it is for you. So there was a period where I did have to stay diligent, because here's the thing. When you repeat affirmations, they will sink in. Hey, Ashley. They will sink in eventually. You have to, at some point, this is my opinion, be willing to get a little uncomfortable and tell a new story, because here's the thing. If you don't start telling a new story, you're still telling the old story on default. And I know people don't like hearing that you got to change your thoughts, but the thing is, your brain never stops thinking. And are there techniques to release resistance? Can you meditate? Can you quiet your mind? Can you prioritize more joy? Yes, absolutely. And I teach all of these things, but I teach it along with being consciously aware of the stories you're telling. You got to be aware of when you're spiraling. You have to be aware of your self-talk, okay? You don't always have to go in with positive affirmations when you're feeling really low, but you do have to stop the negative spiral, okay? So I see a lot of people being like, oh, you don't have to affirm. You just have to trust that things are working out. I'm like, well, that's an assumption right there. So I kind of wanted to talk about this and how everything is an assumption. So whatever you choose to believe is what's going to become true for you, right? There is no one way. I teach my way that works for me, but I always give the disclaimer, if I say something that feels limiting to you, I don't want you to accept it. The goal behind what I teach is to empower you. I want you to find your own unique way. And I know I hear a lot of people too saying you don't need a coach. You don't, but I will tell you where working with a coach can be helpful is having someone, on your side, helping you trust yourself and trust the process, like putting two powers together, and someone who can help you see like what's in your blind spot, like what are you doing that's not actually working for you, because it's going to be different for every person. And I can say it's been different for me through different parts of my journey, like what worked for me. I've done more of the spiritual work. I've done more of the being in my feminine. I've then had to learn how to be more in my masculine and be consistent and show up even when I don't feel like it. Like I've had to work all those angles. And I do feel that I teach it from a very holistic perspective. But it's just important to know that. And the thing is, why I love Law of Assumption is, like I've said, I did not actually start seeing results until I started practicing Law of Assumption. Because the thing is, we're practicing Law of Assumption all day, every day, whether or not we realize it. And so you can get these people who say, oh, no, you don't have to do this. You just have to trust that it's all working out. I'm like, that's an assumption right there. Or you'll get the people who say, oh, you just got to relax and have fun, and then it's all going to work out. There's another assumption. Or the people who say, oh, you got to work at it. There's another assumption. The thing is, there's no right or wrong way. It's going to work if you work it, because you're the power, not the technique, not the process. You're the power. And my goal is to empower you. And I will tell you, for me and working with my clients, when we've done Law of Assumption, when we've really understood it, like not doing it from this needy, desperate place, but from a place of desiring to understand yourself and your power. That's the game changer. Okay. So I just wanted to share some of that with you guys, for any of you who are feeling like overwhelmed by information or confused or like doubting that you're on the right path. I think so much of why working with a coach can be good, or finding someone, like if you enjoy these lives, by the way, if you're enjoying this, share it. If you feel like people would benefit from this. If you're not following me, give me a follow, because I go live every week on Thursday. But, I think that oftentimes why working with a coach or having someone that can guide you can be helpful is because it helps you hold the vibration of faith until you learn how to trust yourself, because really that's all it is. any method's going to work if you work it. It's whatever you can get your belief behind. And it's much more advantageous, in my opinion, to do it in a way that feels good to you, so it's something you can stick with, right? Like an easy example is like diet and exercise, right? If you want to make some shifts in your body, most of us have been conditioned to believe that we need to take some sort of action, whether that's like changing the way we eat a little bit, or, you know, maybe cutting down on drinking, or maybe working out a little bit, whatever. People who experience long-term results are typically the people who found a way to do it that was enjoyable, right? Like they found foods they enjoy eating, they found a type of exercise they enjoy, and something they can stick with, right? You don't want to be just, you know, I see a lot of people not getting results because they don't stay consistent. They're going from coach to coach, they're going from guru to guru, doing all the things, but kind of sticking with nothing. And I share a lot of different perspectives with you guys here because, one, I'm multifaceted, and I believe that you're likely multifaceted too. And I want to constantly be sharing new ideas and perspectives with you so you can take what feels good and run with it. Okay? So let me read through some of these comments, get caught up. But I wanted to say that because people have been popping up on my feed lately. Like, I don't know. I've heard people knocking law of assumption, and I will tell you, like, affirming has had a really important place in my journey because I had to intentionally tell new stories. And the thing is, our brain with enough repetition will pick it up. Are there easier methods like doing sleep tracks? Yeah, of course. But like, if you're someone who is an overthinker and anxious all the time, you're going to likely want to do some work around your thoughts during the day too. And I'm not saying you have to sit there and be affirming all day long. Not at all. You can go in, I teach like blanket affirmations. You can go in with everything's working out. It's okay. This is all being worked out for me. I'm going to be guided and led. You know, you can go in with those general like blanket affirmation statements, but those are still affirmations and those are still forming assumptions for you. Okay. We're going to talk on this more. I'm just scrolling through. Kennedy, I think manifestation is a journey. It really takes time to build yourself up and learn. It is a journey. You're 100% right. It takes time because really how I look at this is it's you getting to know yourself. And we're all so individual. We've all had different upbringings. We've all had different life experiences. We all have different circumstances that we're going through. We all have different things. In general, what we all want is more or less the same thing, but it looks different for each of us. And the way you operate, what's going to work for you is going to work differently for someone else. So if you can look at it, come at it like that, like understanding that it is a journey and that it's really about getting to know yourself, it kind of takes some of that pressure off. You know, you stop comparing yourself to other people. You stay more in your lane, which I will tell you, if you feel like you're constantly comparing yourself, I would really challenge you to stay in your own lane because that kind of focused intention will create rapid results. So many people are leaking their energy by like being distracted by everyone else or, you know, looking outside of them for information instead of trusting yourself. And it just takes time. Like everyone has different things to work through. And, you know, I think there's something to be said for really meditation in the sense of learning how to cut out the distractions and go within. Go within to get the answers. Because at the end of the day, if you don't trust yourself, you're never going to feel safe. You know, everyone's opinions are changing all the time, just like the TikTok algorithm. You know, at some point you got to realize you're the source. Like you're going to show up and do your thing regardless. Like if you're constantly trying to keep up with everything and everyone outside of you, you're going to be confused all the time. Kennedy, I used to be scared of my thoughts and triggers, and this process has helped me release. Yeah, you don't need to be scared of your thoughts. You're not your thoughts. And when you realize that you are more powerful than your thoughts only have power if you give them power. Okay, I was talking with a friend about this just last night. you know, sitting and thinking on a problem doesn't solve it. Okay, so this is a great example of where just letting go can be a really helpful technique. Okay, so what we need to understand is when we have a problem, it only exists because of the way we've been thinking, right? It's because of past programming, it's because of past belief systems. And while it can be great to go in there with positive new affirmations, sometimes we find ourselves in something that feels overwhelming, or it's just this mindset that we just like, it feels like it has such a tight grip on us. And what I found to be really helpful when we feel like we're confused how to move forward, how to resolve this, or it just seems too big or powerful, is to just acknowledge this is just old programming and just relax and let it be rearranged for you. So I like to say, let it be dissolved and resolved in the best way possible. And it really doesn't matter how you understand this. I think I've heard it taught from a spiritual perspective, whereas, you know, like you're letting your higher mind take over. So that would be really along the lines of like Dr. Joe Dispenza's work, right? Like letting your superconscious take over. It's like letting your soul kind of rewire your mind. But when you want to understand it more from like a scientific perspective, it's really understanding that the more we engage with a thought form, the more energy we feed it. And so like Neville says, things wither and die with indifference. So you can also like kind of talk yourself off the ledge and be like, you know what, I don't have to figure this out. In fact, thinking is what got me into this problem in the first place. So I'm just going to intentionally let this go, not bypass and pretend like it doesn't exist, not like go totally distract yourself all day and never change anything. It's like intentionally holding space for that issue to be resolved. Does that make sense? So it's these little perspective shifts that you can have that can make such a huge impact. And the thing is, when you can sort of like surrender the problem or surrender the need to figure it out or understand it with a knowing, it's not like you're stuffing it down and distracting yourself because it's too stressful. It's like, okay, let me intentionally hand this over to what I perceive to be a higher power. I mean, everything is you, but just like surrendering it with the intention that it will be resolved. It's like you've just set your intention right there. You've just assumed that if you let it go, it will be taken care of. And from that space, you're going to, without engaging in that mentally, you know, you're not doing mental gymnastics, trying to figure it out, being stressed out about it like a hamster on a wheel. You know, you free up your mind to actually be able to be quiet and receive maybe like some really good practical next steps for you to take. You know, simultaneously, I've experienced this, and clients of mine and friends of mine have experienced this, that when you just stop focusing on it and you just affirm like, okay, this is getting taken care of. I don't know when, I don't know how, but I know this is getting resolved. And you shift your focus onto what is working and away from that problem. So often those problems just resolve on their own, or they just cease to exist. Like they literally just remove themselves from your life. And the thing you want to understand is things aren't so set in stone like we think they are. We think that everything we can see, taste, touch, smell is like so real. But it's only when you're paying attention to it. It's like if you open a fridge and the light turns on every time you open it, and you're like, oh, but I think I should just open it again to see if the light's on. Well, guess what? Every time you open the door, the light's going to go on. If you would just close it and walk away and go do something else, you're never going to experience that again. You feel me? So there's just so many different ways you can approach stuff. And I always teach, you know, you don't want to be trying to affirm from a really frantic space. You want to always get yourself to a good neutral space. So practicing neutrality, practicing non-reaction is very powerful. And you'll find that the more you do practice non-reaction, meaning when you feel triggered, you just stay calm through it and you self-soothe and say, you know what, it's okay. This is just a result of old thinking. This doesn't have any power over me. I know everything. I'm moving in the direction of what I want. I know it's all being worked out for me. And you kind of soothe yourself with some good neutralizing statements. You'll then often find that your higher mind will drop in these better feeling thoughts for you, right? oftentimes you'll find that you just naturally start thinking better, or the intentions that you've put in there do come to the surface, right? But it's not always about just feeling better though, too. And the reason I say that is because if you're someone who has really negative thought patterns, it's going to be hard to feel better. Just like I was sharing, when I would try to relax or go to the beach or have fun and I was really stressed out. I remember there was like a specific year of my life where it was really rough. I was going through a lot, and I would be there like so stressed out, and it was because of my anxiety. It was because of my mind. So that phase of my life, I did two things. I led myself through a lot of nervous system regulating exercises, maybe not necessarily sitting in meditation, but like I would make my own meditation tracks and I would really relax, and I would go in with building my self-concept of I'm someone who things work out for. Everything's working out for me now. Even if I can't see it, I know things are shifting behind the scenes. And I would say whatever I need to say to calm myself down. I would do things to be more in my body. And then I would, once I got to a calm space, I would actively work on positive affirmations. And I did this because my mind needed like a whole makeover. I know maybe some people were born into super positive families and they had a more or less easy life, and so maybe their starting off point's a little different. I feel like my starting off point was like below average. And I share this with you because if I could do it, you can do it too. Sometimes you just have to show like you just have to have a little bit of determination, It does always get to be easier. I think there's a balance of both, of letting go, but also intentionally steering yourself in your mind where you want to go. Because I just find like a lot of people I work with who have anxiety, it's because of the thoughts they're thinking. So to just tell them to calm down usually doesn't work. Kennedy says, and now I'm releasing old beliefs and I'm getting more conscious of my thoughts and I feel better consistently. 100%. So a lot of this, yes, you want to create new thoughts, but sometimes it's like you have to kind of go into that misalignment. You have to go into that shadow of like, well, what negative beliefs am I holding in order to know what positive beliefs you want to create? And this is duality right there, because like if your money sucks, obviously there's a desire for your money to not suck, Sorry, I heard someone yelling. Hopefully you guys can't hear it. There's like the opposite end of it. If you're struggling in relationships, obviously you have a desire to not be struggling in relationships. So it's more so noticing the unfavorable stories you're telling, and you'll know when you're telling an unfavorable story when you're not feeling good. So when you're feeling stressed, when you're feeling angry, when you're feeling disappointed or upset or whatever, or fearful, it's just an old belief system. And you can just recognize that and say, you know what, it is safe for me to let this go. And if you don't know what a better feeling thought is in that moment, I will tell you there's always a better feeling thought. There's always a more enriching perspective available. But if that feels like reaching, if that feels like too much work, just relax and say, help me see this differently. I'm ready to move beyond this. I'm ready to expand beyond this. Let me know if this is making sense, by the way. The more you practice this, the easier it will be. You do have to show up consistently though, because here's the thing. You're either telling a good story, a favorable story, or an unfavorable story. You're either believing that things are working for you or that things aren't working for you. You either believe you're good enough or you believe you're not good enough. And I hear people saying this stuff like, oh, you don't have to sit around and tell yourself that you're worthy and you're good. Yeah, I get it. Like I'm at a point now along my journey where I can now see that that's not even like a thing. But I did feel like that for many years of my life. I felt unworthy. I felt like I didn't deserve love. I felt like I didn't deserve for things to go my way. And there was a stretch of my journey where that helped me so much to go and say, you know what, I am a good person and I do deserve a good life and I do deserve for things to work out. And I'm choosing to love myself and I'm going to choose to show up for myself. And it bothers me when I see people knocking this, because the thing is like everyone's at such different points. And I guess the whole point of this live today is I want you to learn to honor yourself where you're at on your journey. And I want to be the voice of reassurance for you that one, you're perfect where you are. No circumstances, no past, no current circumstances can stop you from getting to where you want to be. And I want to reassure you that your success is inevitable. And I want to encourage you to keep going and know that if you desire it, it's because it's available to you, and it's available to you right now. But it's also okay if it takes some time, because life is a journey, you know? Like I just want to be that voice of reason for you, because I know some days are easier than others, and I know it can be hard when you feel like you're going backwards, or you see other people and you think, why are they manifesting easier in that area of their life? And it's like, I want you to remember to not compare yourself with anyone. You're on your own journey, and where you're at is okay. It's more than okay. Like you're perfect every stage along the way, and that right there is a powerful mindset shift. And there's going to be a time to be disciplined and really work on telling your story. And there's going to be a time to lean back and relax. And there's going to be a time to quiet your mind and meditate. And there's going to be a time to go play and have more fun. But I think it's really important that we learn how to do all of these things, right? Because you're here to really have a full experience. So I see a lot of people teaching just one way. And there's probably you guys listening to me probably can categorize me better than I can categorize myself compared to other people who teach this. But I try to teach it from a holistic point of view, because I see a lot of people just focusing on one way, and that's great, and you can learn from them, that's great. But if you're ever feeling limited, I want to remind you, like, you can do both. You don't have to just do one way. I want you to find the way that works for you. And I believe you should let it be as fun and easy as possible. Ashley says, I knew they were true. What are you talking about? Let me scroll back. Oh, I don't know. I don't know what I said when you said that, Ashley. Ashley says it was more enjoyable. Do you mean about like your positive affirmations, like your new beliefs? Sorry, sometimes when the new comments come in, it bumps it when I'm trying to read the old ones. So just give me a second, guys. Someone says enjoying donuts won't get results. Well, if that's your belief, see, and that's the thing. You're free to change your beliefs. Some beliefs are ingrained more so within us. So some things, if you really have a belief that you can't maintain a healthy weight, or if you want to lose weight or whatever while eating donuts, then probably your path of least resistance would be to not eat donuts right now, you know? But if you really love donuts, I would suggest that you start adjusting your beliefs around donuts and around what you get to have. Because the thing is, it's never about the thing. It's never about the method, because nothing outside of us has any meaning except for the meaning we give it. You're the power. So you always have the power to go in and override beliefs. That's why I'm saying, like, any method will work as long as you work it, as long as you can believe in it, as long as you can get your faith behind it. And that's why you may as well, like, put the work in to rewire certain beliefs, you know, so you can have a really good experience. Life's gonna go the way you believe it's gonna go. Ashley says they are all assumptions. Wow. Yeah, exactly. So it's like the people who say, like, oh, you don't have to do anything to manifest. That's an assumption. People say, oh, you have to do these techniques. That's an assumption. People who say, oh, it's all working out all the time. That's an assumption. I like to create what feels like empowering assumptions for me. So what I personally affirm is, like, everything I do works. I just do what feels good to me. I do, you know, if there's an area in my life where I believe I need to take action, or I want to take action, I choose to believe that I'm fully supported in that. I choose to believe that the actions I take, I create the desired results. I also believe that I can receive results and keep receiving results even when I'm not taking action, right? So like money is a great example. Sure, if I launch something, of course I expect to get sales, but I also have enough passive income stream set up where I'm like, okay, I'm getting sales all the time anyway. So I get paid whether or not I work for it. And that's because that's what I can get my belief behind. I see other people manifesting money literally out of thin air. Have I done that? I've done that sometimes, but I'm not gonna lie, I don't consistently do that. I still have some beliefs that I need to, like, have certain streams open for money to come through. You know, and you're never wrong with your assumptions. You get to, like, create beliefs and assumptions that work for you. And that the great thing is like, there's no end to what you can create. You can constantly tweak things. You can change your mind. You can fine-tune things. You can say, okay, I've mastered making passive income. Now I want to learn how to just manifest money out of thin air. You know, you can do whatever. And if you can approach this with a more playful attitude, understanding that nothing's too serious, you know, the outside world doesn't really matter because it doesn't have any power. You know, you're the power. and you're infinite and you're limitless and there's no limit to what you can create, and you have an abundance of time. There's nothing lost. You know, if you can come at it with that mindset, you're gonna have a much better time, and you'll have a more like easy experience of things coming in more easily for you. I feel like this would be a good time to let you guys know that I'm working on something for you guys. So I am making a really special kind of like combo track. So I did a poll on my YouTube asking what people are struggling with the most, and it was kind of a tie between releasing the old story and building faith and trust. So I've made an audio. I just need to like package it up for you guys, but it's pretty much done. So probably by this weekend. So if you're on my newsletter, it should be in there by Sunday. If you'd like to get on my newsletter, guys, go to my profile, click the link there, and then scroll all the way down. Okay. I send out a newsletter each week with a replay of these lives too. So if you didn't catch the whole live, or you can't stay for the whole thing, or if you want to catch the past lives, I upload them to my YouTube and send out an email each week. Okay. But anyway, I've created this. I did the first part, like the first 5 minutes. It's an hour-long track. So this is going to be great. I think you guys are going to love it. Like, I feel like this is my best one yet. The first 5 minutes is I'm speaking to you to help you calm down, giving you are affirmations, like explaining to you, reminding you like you're right where you need to be, like everything's working out for you. You know, a lot of this positive talk to really help you relax, soften your body with those you are statements. Then I go in with the I am affirmations, and these are all catered, like tailored around releasing resistance, releasing the old story. Your subconscious mind is now accepting the new story, going in with all the positive beliefs and faith and relaxing all of this. So it's a very amazing track. And then that kind of fades out, I guess you would say, so that it gets really soft and quiet, almost like the whisper method. So it's pretty much like a subliminal towards the end. So I hope I described that well. I'm super excited to share it with you guys. I've been using it for myself and I really like it. Just when I feel like I need a good meditation. So that's something you could, if you guys like that, stay tuned for that. I'll have it out. Okay. Huge relief for me lately. I don't have to think about the how or the circumstances. I can just relax. Yeah, 100%. You can. I am such... I like being disciplined with my mindset. I like mastering my emotions. Like, I like being emotionally secure. I like really making sure I don't spiral. Like, I'm at a point where I don't spiral about anything, and it feels really good. I like consistently taking action towards my goals. I do. But I will tell you, I lean so heavily on my feminine energy, meaning whenever I want to relax, I relax. And I fully believe that things still keep working out for me and I keep attracting things. Like, I really, really, you know, anytime I feel like I'm thinking too hard about something or trying to solve something and it feels like I'm maybe hitting a roadblock or a lot of limiting beliefs are coming up, I mean, that's really all a roadblock is anyway, right? Just your old belief system. But anytime I feel like that, or I feel like I'm pushing too hard, I lean back and I relax and I remind myself I don't have to figure this out. If there's an action I need to take, I will be guided, and I'm holding space for this to resolve itself too. You know, I just lean back and let things get handled for me, or let myself, you know, let the information drop in. And there are people who manifest just that way. And there are people who manifest just mostly with masculine energy. And there are people who do both. I would classify myself as someone who does both, but always heavily in the feminine. It's always safe to lean back. Always, always, always. And I think that's a good thing to remind yourself of. Sorry, I'm scrolling back trying to find where I left off on these comments. Okay. I think I invited someone accidentally. Sorry, guys. I don't know whose name. It's just your name show up and it says invite, and I accidentally clicked on it. So whoever I sent an invite to, disregard that. I'm sorry. Okay. Perfectly imperfect. Love this cup. Where can you get one? Starbucks. It's really cool. Okay, so purple's like one of my favorite colors, and it's like when you have cold in it, it's purple. So if you have it all the way filled up, it's purple, but it all goes, even the lid, I think the lid, I can't, maybe the lid stays purple, I don't remember, but it will go back to white clear. if you put warm water in, or once you finish your cold drink. Yeah, that's my new favorite. I always have to have a drink. Like, it's usually water. Actually, I'm drinking an energy drink right now, but that's rare. It's usually just water or tea. How can you change yourself in a situation? Okay, if you're still here, if you want to expand on that for me. I mean, all we're ever doing with manifesting is changing ourselves. We're changing where we're putting our awareness. Kennedy, I'm more of an observer to my thoughts. I don't attach or identify with them. 100%, because you're not your thoughts. It's, who is it that says the mind is a wonderful servant and a horrible master? It's like, you get to take charge of your thoughts. And when old thoughts pop up or unfavorable thoughts pop up, you can just laugh at it and like not take it seriously, being like, oh yeah, no thank you. You know, it's kind of like if you're walking down the street and some annoying loser cat calls you, you're just like, you wish, whatever, you know, here's my Cash App. You know, don't take it seriously. Don't let things get to you. There's so much power when you access so much power when you stop caring what people think, and when you stop taking things so seriously, and you stop making things mean something about you. Like, come on, our energy is used in so many better ways. A thought is like a card to a different reality. You don't have to get in. Exactly. You have the ability to accept and reject things. And just because that thought comes up doesn't mean you need to engage with it. You don't need to be afraid of it. It doesn't have any power. Like, whatever. It's just a thought. And you can always choose another thought. I mean, I think some people just get so attached to their negative thought patterns that they like don't realize they have a choice in it. Like, and I see this a lot with people who've been heavily indoctrinated with religion, where they're like, but this is the way it is, and this is what the Bible says. Now, don't get me wrong, I love the Bible. It's truly, I believe, a manifestation handbook from Jesus. If we even believe Jesus was real, who knows? Who cares? Like, but you know, it's just people just accept what beliefs have been pushed onto them, and they don't ever question them for themselves, and they don't ever think like, well, this thought's making me miserable, I wonder if a more enriching perspective is available. You know, they just cling to those beliefs even if it's hurting them, you know. And the thing is, what I found is there's always another thought available. There's always another perspective available. And when I'm being really stubborn, because sometimes I am, you know, I have a lot of Capricorn in my chart, so oftentimes, you know, Scorpio and Capricorn, so like oftentimes I will be clinging to like a perspective about something that's like pissing me off, and I'm like, why am I clinging so tight to this? Like, what am I getting out of this? And I just will in those moments be like, even if I say it through clenched teeth, I'm like, I'm willing to see this differently, like, because I just know, like, I'm committed to feeling better no matter what. I'm never going to let my thoughts drag me around. I'm never going to let people or circumstances outside of me fucking make me miserable or ruin my life. Like, no fucking way. Not when I know I have control over it. And not control in the sense of like needing to try to like force things outside of you. It's more so just controlling your inner state. Emotional intelligence. Being self-sourced and self-regulated. Like, the ability to really regulate and manage your thoughts and your emotions and what you choose to engage with, and what emotions you're available to be holding and feeling and interacting with in your body, in your mind. And yeah, just not being available for things that feel shitty, you know? Ashley, today's a hard day. I know things are working out though. Ashley, what can you do today just for fun? It's okay to have a hard day. But you know, you're right, everything is working out for you. And in those moments, I'm just like, okay, what does my human need? Like, do I need Netflix? Do I need to go for a walk? Like, do I need to go get a massage? What do I need? Do I need to go get takeout? You know, just take care of a human. What can you do that's fun? Because you're right, it is working out. I'm feeling like, Ashley, for you, tapping into more ease would be good. That's what I'm like intuitively getting. Oh, Kennedy. Thank you. You girls are awesome, lifting each other up. I love this community. You guys are amazing. I love you all. Okay. JR says, I manifested my SP. He came back talking about future marriage and now is backtracking. Help. You just stay calm. Keep your cool. Doesn't matter what he's saying. That's just whenever you get hot and cold results, that's reflecting you being hot and cold in your thoughts. Your reality and who you're choosing to be and what you're choosing to have has nothing to do with what shows up. Like, you need to land more in knowing that you're the only source. It is what you say it is. Things will conform. You know, this is what people do. They'll get in their power, they'll affirm, they'll see results, and then when things look like they're going wrong, then they just hand their power away and they're like, oh my God, I'm helpless to the circumstance. Like, no, you stay calm and centered and in your power no matter what. You've got to be unconditional with it, and then things will shift, things will fall into line. But likely you're in this weird dynamic of like only feeling good when things are showing up, and that's not unconditional. That's circumstantial power. That's not true power. True power is being able to stand in a shitstorm and be like, and it's still working out for me, and I can handle this because I can do hard things, and I'm bigger than this, and this is just a result of old thoughts that I created. So you know what, I was the only power then and I'm the only power now, and none of this shit's real anyway on the outside. Like, doesn't matter what my 3D is showing me. I know I'm gonna get what I want because that's who I choose to be. You know, sometimes you gotta add a little oomph to it. You know, stop focusing on the outside, focus on you. And if thinking about your manifestation, in this case, your specific person and what appears to be going on the outside causes too much resistance, just let it go. That would be a great opportunity to like, be like, you know what? I know I'm going to get what I want, and I'm intentionally handing this over to my higher mind, to the universe, God, source, whatever the hell you believe in. It doesn't even matter. Just be like, I'm going to let go of this and just give it a little breathing room to work itself out. You know? And go focus on something else. Go have fun. Go take care of yourself. You know, the more you focus on you instead of your manifestations, the more magnetic you are, the easier things will flow to you, the less stressed you're going to be. Like, it makes you so much more attractive when you're focused on yourself. Like, think about it. Confident people who just can't be bothered, like, that's the sexiest vibe. Meanwhile, like, the people pleasers, the chasers, the people who are trying too hard, it's like kind of repels, you know? I hope I explained that well. If you have questions, let me know. Okay, I'm in the process, I think you're trying to say, of getting my SP back. He showed up for my birthday. Okay, that's great, but don't get caught up in focusing on him too much. You're the prize. That's great. You can get what you want, but of course he did, right? You know, circumstances don't matter. The Bible speaks about speaking things into existence 100%. I'm telling you, the Bible is a manifestation handbook if you are putting on the right lens to see it through. Juliana, I'm working on my self-concept and it feels like it's an endless hole. Can I still manifest? Yeah. I want you to shift this right now, Juliana. You're not working on your self-concept to make something happen. You're working on your self-concept because of who you want to be, how you want to feel, and how you want to experience life, right? So I don't know what area you're working on. If you're working on your self-concept in general, just like confidence or belief, like, you know, believing you're supported, or believing that you get to have an amazing relationship, or you get to have fuck tons of money, or like a hot bod. Like, I don't know what it is. It could be one of those areas. It could be all of them. But you're doing it first and foremost for you. Like, get that straight in your mind. You're doing this for you. The results are going to show up as a byproduct, and the results are great. But here's the thing. When you really do it for you, the results don't have that power over you anymore. It's a great addition to your life, but you've already found that wholeness and completeness within you. And that's a powerful place to be, because in that moment, you're like, it doesn't matter if the things seem to come and go in the outside world, because I am who I am regardless. And ironically, the catch-22 there is that when you're in that energy, that's when it sticks. Yes, I'm the prize and I feel it. Yes, girl, 100%. I'm glad that helped you shift. You know, you can affirm for SP. You can affirm for what you want. You can affirm for all of these things. But remember that you always come first. You know, these things are just the frosting on top. little sprinkles. It's all you anyway, you know? And I always like to say it like this. You're worthy of feeling good now. Yeah, you want to make a change. You want to change something in your appearance. Okay, cool. You're going to get that. And you get to feel good now. And it's going to be awesome when you get that. And once you get that, there's going to be something else you want to create because you're infinite, you're endless. Like, let it be fun. Don't take it so seriously. Ashley, I feel like I've gone through phases of affirming 24/7 versus when I think about it. Just do whatever feels right. I go through that too. I go through phases where I meditate more. I go through phases where I'm resting more. I go through phases where I'm taking more action. I go through phases where I don't really intend for much. Like, I have my overall beliefs that I've instilled, but I go through phases where I listen to sleep tracks and when I don't. Just really gauge where you're at. If you're just starting out, like, be consistent. But if once you're consistent and you start adopting these new beliefs, you're not really going to feel the need to affirm so much anymore. But I'm never going to tell you to not affirm because I swear it changed my life and it's changed a lot of my clients' lives. Juliana, can you talk about the purging that happens with self-concept? Feels like really old emotions coming up. Yeah, that can be normal. So I go into this deeply. Ashley, you know this because you're in Manifestation Mastery. But my program Manifestation Mastery, I have like a whole video training in there where I'm explaining how, you know, when there's like this wall of resistance we hit when we're trying to instill new beliefs. And it's usually the old mindset fighting off with the new one, okay? And it's nothing to be worried about. You just want to keep letting those go. The easiest way is to just be like, oh, when I'm not feeling good, let me just soften, relax my body, calm down, open up energetically, and release these. Sometimes it's going to be easy to be like, oh, these are old thoughts of I'm not enough or it's never going to work. Well, that's not true. That's the old story. That's a victim mentality. That's not who I am anymore. It's not in alignment with what I'm choosing now. We're going to let it go. You don't always have to wrestle with them. Sometimes it's helpful to take a look at like what you're believing that's shitty so you can like kind of disprove it a bit or like intentionally choose to go in and affirm the opposite. But then sometimes you can just let it go. And it really depends on where you are. Sometimes that's what I'm saying, like sometimes coaching or like getting some kind of support can be really helpful because, you know, just kind of help you learn how to work these things from different angles depending on how you're feeling and what's coming up for you. But just know that it's always working out for you. And just know when you're not feeling good, it's just old programming. Just release it. Intend to release it. Be like, okay, I'm ready to move beyond this now. It's helpful to know that you're not alone. Yeah, 100%. And guys, honestly, that's why I do what I do. That's why I come here every week for you guys live. That's why I create the content I do, because I want to help you keep going. Because I know you're going to get what you want. Sometimes we just need that little bit of support. Ashley, I've had crazy strong crying bursts recently. I choose to believe that means I'm really close. Yeah, Ashley, stop making it so about the destination. Because the thing is, like, it's already in you. I think for you, like, when I told you earlier that I'm getting, like, the vibe that, like, more ease is what's going to serve you. I want to say to you, Ashley, like, how can you be happy now? Because often it's just that mindset of like that, like this thing needs to happen or that we're not there yet, you know, and that's something you can shift. Is that making sense? Let me know. Sometimes we think we're focusing on our manifestation, but we're more so focusing on how we're not there yet. And that's like never helpful. Because there's always going to be more. Yeah, boredom. I know. You know, actually, sometimes it's just that, you know, like there are ups and downs. Like I had a really hard week last week. I'm not going to lie. And I don't know where it came from. And I feel like looking back, I'm like, you know what? I think around eclipse season is when I tend to feel that. And I'm just like, I just was like, you know what? Old stuff's being released. Good. You know, and sometimes you just have to take care of your body. The way, like I was having like random pains in my body. I was like, what is going on? And my partner was like, yeah, you're probably just like releasing a lot of old limits. And, you know, how I understand that is, you know, the physical is the last thing to manifest. It's the most dense. So as we release stuff, oftentimes, you know, we release stuff in our mind and our emotions. Oftentimes that will show up as things releasing from our body too. You know, like sometimes it shows up as pain, and you just, you know, all you can do is love yourself and breathe through it and be like, it's okay. Like, I'm having an experience. It's okay. And it still gets to get better and better. It still gets easier and easier. I think sometimes we like create this fantasy world for ourselves in our head, and hear me out, because I stand for having everything you want. I stand for you're limitless, of course. But I think sometimes we like create this fantasy world in our mind where we think like once we get our manifestations, we're not going to have any problems or any struggles, and everything's going to be perfect. And if we could just snap our fingers and be there, everything would be great. And it's like, I feel like it's, you know, I can tell you as someone who's moved through a lot in my life and really leveled up in all areas, like it's not that it's more like a perspective shift. It's not that life stops having things that are challenging. It's not that you don't have things to work towards. It's more so how you hold yourself through it. Like, I'm going through something right now that's challenging, but it's crazy to see like how it's coming up for me now, because it's something that I'm like ready to overcome now. Whereas if it would have showed up for me 2 years ago, I would have lost my shit and been like unhinged, you know? And I think so often we put our happiness on hold because we're waiting for that perfect moment. And this is where the concept of embodiment comes in, where it's like you get to give yourself permission to feel good now before anything shifts. And sometimes that's going to look like showing up and doing things that feel hard. Sometimes that's going to look like showing up when you don't feel like it. You know, sometimes that's going to be like, okay, let me give it a rest. Sometimes that's going to look like getting support where you need it. You know, it just, so much of it is a perspective shift. I think it's like we can hold ourselves in this space where we don't notice how good we actually have it because we're waiting for things to get better. You always want to check in with where you are energetically. You want to be like happy and great. You want to feel happy now. You want to be noticing the good now and excited for what you get to create, knowing that you're going to keep receiving more and it gets to get better and better and easier and easier. It's like this dance that you want to master. Like, how can you get in a space of desiring more without feeling lack or dissatisfaction with where you are? Does that make sense? Let me go back and read these comments. I started sending audios to my friends saying I'm recording music and doing amazing things that make me feel better to pretend. I mean, Ashley, do whatever you want. But you can't mess it up. You're perfect where you are. It's okay to feel bored. It's okay. Like, I think sometimes we get so used to being overstimulated that we mistake peace for boredom, you know? So maybe check in there. Are you regulating? Or is there something you're wanting to do that you're putting on hold? You know, is there an area of your life that you could pay more attention to? Just check in with yourself. I'm not sure exactly what's going on. Only you're going to know that. And I also would check in, like, where are you telling stories of you're not enough yet? Where are you buying into the belief that you'll be happy when? I would work on shifting and allowing yourself to be happy now. Because that's the power, allowing yourself to feel good now without anything changing. I've told this story before, and I'm going to tell it again briefly, like the short version. But I remember, like, must have been like 7 or 8 years ago now. I was in a spot in my life where I felt really stuck. And I was like at my wit's end with a certain situation. It was like multiple areas of my life. And I felt really stuck. And I remember I was on a walk. And I was like, okay, Hannah, like, I guess I was going along with my worst case scenario, because my worst case scenario in my head was like, nothing's ever going to change. I'm going to be stuck here forever, like in this circumstance forever, in this location forever. And I was like, okay, Hannah. So what if worst case scenario, nothing fucking changes ever and you are stuck here forever indefinitely? And my little ego was like happy, like, okay, yeah. I was like, okay, so if you just wanted to be happy, how would you need to shift how you're viewing this? What could you change that's in your power to change right now to let yourself allow in more joy? And I'll tell you what, within a month, I was out of there. I got in contact with a friend and stuff opened up, and it was like the solution's always there. But we hold ourselves in a space where we're holding ourselves apart from it when we're really resisting. Okay? So there's power in acknowledging current circumstances, acknowledging what doesn't feel good, acknowledging where you feel stuck, and not resisting it, being like, okay, I am where I am, and it can shift, and I get to feel good now before it shifts. It's like, it's not saying like, you don't have to do like I did years ago. This was before I really understood. I didn't know law of assumption at that point, but I intuitively was led to change my mind about that. Like, we're all so guided all the time, whether or not we realize it. But you don't have to always play into, worst case scenario. You can if that helps you, but you can be like, okay, I know I can shift this. Maybe from where I am right now, I don't see how, I don't know how or when, but it's going to shift. It's going to shift because I want it to shift. And what can I do now to feel better? How can I change the way I'm viewing this? How can I change what I'm doing in my day-to-day life to allow in more joy? Because quite frankly, I deserve that. And that's what I'm choosing. And I am no longer available to tell sad stories and to feel stuck and to feel like a victim. Like, you have to become unavailable for your own bullshit, Okay, Juliana, focusing on just me scares me because I feel like if I don't obsess with SB affirmations, he won't. Okay, so I can tell from this comment, and I'm saying this with love, Juliana, you've got him on the pedestal and not you. I want you to stop focusing on him, because I'm going to tell you what, you can be happy with or without him. You can definitely have him. You can manifest ideal version of him. You can manifest someone else. You can manifest being happy, being single. So much of manifesting is about prioritizing yourself and your happiness. It's like what we're so attached to. It's like we hold on to it with that death grip, that anxious grip, and then we actually don't let it in. It's like you have to get out of that chasing energy. And so this is why sometimes people say set it and forget it, or just stop caring. And it's not that you stop caring, but it's like you can always shift your focus to, okay, well, I'm the top priority. It's like if someone's not showing up, though, like just from a practical standpoint, just to inject a little practicality into this, if someone's not showing up the way you want, like, why would you want them? I'm not saying you don't want that person, but you don't want that version of them anyway. So don't pay any mind to it. Focus on you. Have you ever had those moments? I know for me, when I've gotten to the point of a relationship where I'm like, I don't have time for this bullshit anymore. And I'm done. And then that's when the person really wants me and starts showing up great. That's used to be my old pattern back then. But do you know why that would happen? Because I finally stopped chasing and I became magnetic. But the thing is, you get to choose to do that now. Guys, if you don't believe me, just start focusing on yourself and feeling happy. Focus on building yourself up. Focus on doing things that make you feel better. And watch how things start to shift for you. Please, I think that's the challenge for this week. Focus, let's reel it back on in. Stop being so attached to the 3D. Stop being so attached to needing things to change. Stop letting the 3D be your source of happiness, because that is a very disempowered state. Let's this week turn our attention inwards and practice being self-sourced, because I promise, here's the thing, you are so powerful. You have the ability to create happiness, peace, contentment within yourself, regardless of what's going on around you. And this is the true test of power. Can you be in the shitstorm and stay composed? And there is a time and place to be in the shitstorm and be like, okay, I know this is shifting, and feel good. And I think sometimes there's a time and place to be in the shitstorm and be like, I don't even have to affirm anything. I don't have to change anything. Let me just find happiness, because it's always here. It's always within me. It's like, if you can be willing to be that detached, things will show up fast. But ironically, when you're doing it for the right reasons, when you're doing it because you just are like, okay, I just want to be happy, you don't really care about the thing. So then when the things come in, you're not in this constant fear of losing them. You don't drive them away, because it's like, it's kind of like the spoiler alert, because I think like we've spent so much of life having these things on pedestals, like, oh, if I could just get this thing, then I'd be happy. And it's like, you've made it to be this big life-changing thing. But let me tell you, when you start manifesting the big things that you always thought you wanted, like, the excitement wears off quickly, you know? I'm at the point where it's like, okay, I'm getting sales every day. So I remember in the beginning, I'd be like, I got a sale. I'd be like, oh my God. And then like, I wouldn't get a sale for a few days and I'd be like upset. And now they're coming in nonstop. And I don't even get like that excited feeling. Like sometimes I just like smile at my phone. I'm like, oh yeah, more notifications. Yay, cool. But like most of the time it's kind of like a neutral feeling. And if you would have told me that like 2 years ago, I would have been so bummed out, because I had like this thing of like, I wanted to get sales every day and that was going to be like the game changer and everything in my life would be perfect. Well, guess what? 2 years later, I'm getting that. And I have other shit going on in my life. Like I have other things I'm working at that feel hard, but I know I'm just going to overcome it like I always do. And it's no big deal. And it's like when you get a new car and it's like exciting for a while. And then after a while it starts to feel old, or you just feel neutral about it. It's not as exciting. It's like, you know, stop making your manifestation the source of excitement and happiness. One, I also would look at like, okay, where do we feel the need to be like hopped up all the time? Like, can we anchor in more peace and stability instead of these emotional spikes, right? Like, can we normalize stability? But also like, two, where are you making it about the thing? Because I'll tell you what, things come in faster when it's no big deal. And you can see that with people. People are more magnetic when they don't care, versus the people who are like, ooh, pick me, pick me, pick me. Let me jump through all these magical hoops for you. Like, that's not an attractive magnetic energy. But it's like when you stop trying, it comes in. But then it comes in the way that's best for you, in a way that's sustainable. Because you're in a grounded energy, grounded and stable, so you can maintain it. You can hold on to it. And the thing doesn't have power over you. It's not the source of your happiness. It's not the source of your safety. It's not the source of your security and stability. So you could kind of take it or leave it, because you are who you are. I am that I am. Is this making sense? Am I describing this right? It's nuanced, I know, but like the more you practice it, the more you'll understand this. It's interesting because like when you've spent your whole life chasing things, you get addicted to that adrenaline rush. You get addicted to the chasing. And when you realize that you can just lean back and be magnetic and things will come to you, it's like all of a sudden you kind of don't care anymore. It's like all of a sudden you start getting all the things and it's like, well, I'm getting all the things I wanted, so what's next? And it's like, oh, happiness, peace, spending time with people I love, like doing what I want, like going for a nice walk. It's like the simple things. And I remember when I was really struggling a couple years ago, like I would just do what I could do. I felt so stuck in so many areas in my life. And I was like, okay, what can I do that's going to make me feel better? And I was like, okay, I'm going to get showered. I'm going to put a little bit of makeup on, put something cute on, go for a walk because that feels good. I'm going to cook a nice meal. I'm going to just enjoy spending time with my dog, like the simple things. Like, and you know what? Now fast forward a few years later where I've manifested a lot of things that I have been like working so hard to get done. And it's like, I'm still enjoying the same shit. Like I'm still the same person. Like I still like the same things. Like I'm simple. I mean, I'm bougie, but I'm simple too. You know what I mean? Like, I hope I'm describing this well. I'm just kind of riffing on it to like bring some different angles to this for you. But Ashley, you're doing so well. Like don't get down on yourself because you know, you're having like a hard week or a hard day. Like it can happen. You can acknowledge that. Like it's okay. You don't have to be afraid of it. Like it's okay to have an off day. It's okay to have a hard season of your life. It's okay to have a hard day. Like, and you still get to show up for yourself, and you still get to not take it too seriously, and you still get to choose a good perspective. And you don't have to overthink it. You don't have to try so hard, you know? Don't be afraid of forgetting your manifestation. I just saw that comment. Don't be afraid of it. So what? Like, okay, worst case scenario, what if you didn't get your manifestation? So what? Just be happy. Work on your happiness. Happiness is a muscle that you get to develop. You get to cultivate it. You know? But I'm here to tell you, spoiler alert, you're going to get what you want. But it's not going to make you as happy as you think it's going to make you. I'm going to tell you the real truth is that what's going to make you the most happy, your relationship with you, choosing to feel good no matter what, choosing to prioritize yourself and your emotional well-being. Yeah. So do your techniques, do your affirming, do it when it feels good, but do it from a space of I'm the power, of I'm doing this to make myself feel better, and I get to feel good without the thing. I am awesome. Thank you. Okay, Raul, a new SP came in for me and I don't know if I want old SP. Isn't that how that works? I've had that. You don't have to have it figured out right now. You know, in those moments, I mean, just remind yourself, like, you can't choose wrong. You can ask yourself, so I like to do this when I feel confused about something or conflicted about a decision. I just go in and I'm like, heart, show me what I really want. Show me what's really going to make me happy. Show me what I really want. Is dating okay while I figure it out? Of course, you can do whatever you want. Just be honest with yourself. Meet yourself where you're at. If you try dating and it feels overwhelming and you don't want it, don't. You don't have to. I went like 3 years, like totally single, like didn't go on a single date, nothing. And it was like the best 3 years of my life. I mean, and then I've gone through phases where I dated a lot and that was really great too. Like, and now I'm in a relationship and that's great too. Like, you can't get it wrong. If what you desire, Ro, is like to have a meaningful relationship, if you want to like find that life partner or something, you can affirm, I'm going to get the relationship I want. It's inevitable. There's the perfect person for me and it's unfolding in the perfect way. And there's nothing I could do to mess it up, you know? Sorry, I feel like I have to sneeze, guys. It's like one of those ones where you're like, it's there, but you can't sneeze. Okay. Guys, I'm gonna log off in a few minutes, but I hope this was a good talk today. I hope you feel more confident, more relaxed. I want you guys to know that you got this. I want you guys to know that you can't mess it up. I want you to know you're going to get what you want. I want you to know that you're beautiful and perfect where you are. I want you to know that it's always coming together and unfolding, even in the moments where it feels hard or it feels confusing or you feel overwhelmed or you feel upset. Like, it's all still working. And your assignment, if you will, for this week is I want you to see how can you focus more on you. You know, whether that's physical self-care, emotional self-care. Maybe that's working on your self-concept, being like, I'm amazing. I'm a fucking catch. I'm gorgeous. I'm incredible. Maybe it's taking stock of all the things you have successfully achieved instead of looking at what you have yet to achieve. You know, there's power in that, being like, okay, I'm not there yet, but I'm certainly not where I used to be. And I know once I get there, because I'm going to get there, wherever there is, it's like a moving target, truly. That's what I was trying to explain, Ashley. You know, there's always more, right? There's always going to be more once you get there. You know, so how can you relax and soften and like relax into the resistance, relax into the present moment, give yourself permission to be where you are and not resist it? How can you focus more on the journey? You know, a year from now, how do you want to look back and remember this last year, this last phase of your life? Do you want to remember it as a time where you were really in your head and really at war with yourself and really anxious? Or do you want to look back at it and be like, oh my God, that's the time in my life where I really practiced letting go. And I found the courage within me to just create happiness regardless of circumstances. Like, damn, I was going through some tough shit. And like, that was ironically like one of the happiest years of my life. And my life has just gotten better and better since then. Because I did that. Because I tapped into my power. Because I decided to stop waiting for happiness. You know, how do you want to remember this phase of your life? You love it when I go live. Thank you for being here. I love you guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for everyone who stuck around the whole time. I'm sending you guys love. reminder, if you want to catch this whole live or see the replay or any of my other replays, they are all on my YouTube, okay? So if you go to the link in my profile, it will show you everything. There's oh yeah, if you guys want to book a one-on-one with me, they're $50 off my 45-minute sessions. So if you want one-on-one support, you can do that. You can always book email coaching. What else do I have? My self-concept guide. I have like affirmations, subliminal bundles. I have the new one coming out, like the combo one. It's like an hour-long one coming out. So I'll get that out by this weekend, I think. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel if you want to see the replays of all of these. If you're not following me here, follow me because I post content like every week and I go live every Thursday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Ashley says combo one sounds cool. Yeah, this one's really good. I really like it. I mixed a lot of things in it. I'm doing like the you are, I'm doing the I am. It kind of fades into like whisper method, subliminal. Like it's cool. It's like a meditation subliminal all in one. But yeah, you guys can get on my newsletter. I send a newsletter out every Sunday. So yeah, I think that's all the things. Have a great week, guys. Okay, just remember when you're feeling stressed, I want you to be like, okay, how can I just soften and relax into this a little more? And just know when you're not feeling good, it's just because it's old beliefs that quite frankly don't match you anymore. Because if they were aligned with you and what you've stepped into now and where you're going, they would feel good. You wouldn't feel resistance. So when the resistance comes up, can you reframe the way you look at it and be like, oh, this is great. This means I can just release this all. This means I'm ready for more. Perfect. I'm ready to expand into more. And remember, the way you expand is not by contracting your energy and being tight and stressed and anxious and overthinking. It's by softening and relaxing. Okay? So just relax your body, relax your mind, breathe out. You got this. Okay? I love you guys. I'll see you next week. Bye.